Alright, welcome back. Today it's time for a bit of a format change. So in terms of the game, at the moment I've spent a lot of time actually going through how it's coded and how the code is structured, and basically doing a massive cleanup behind the scenes, because I was starting to get to a point where it was taking me longer and longer to make new changes. And basically, if you're a programmer, you'll probably know about a book called Clean Code. I haven't read it, but it's a really popular book in the programming world, and mainly there's some ideas behind this kind of notion of clean code, which is, or one of the key ones that I kind of want to talk about today is the separation of concerns. So basically you have your different functions that are all doing whatever, right? I have one, I was doing my movement, which I showed off in my last video, and it's called something like move down path. Now, you think, oh yeah, that's pretty, makes sense, right? It moves the player down a path. But within that, you'll see quickly that I'm doing all sorts of random checking, and there's really one question you can ask yourself really quickly to see if you follow this rule of separation of concerns, and that is, can someone that can't program read that function and tell you what it's meant to be doing? And the answer is definitely not. They can read the name of the function and see that it's moved down path, but apart from that, they can not really say anything else, right? So the goal is to take everything within the function. For example, at the top, I'm checking something like if path array length 0 or whatever. And essentially, if you were to ask me, why did I put that there? I'd say, it's because I'm trying to check, I'm trying to make sure that you have a path to follow, right? So actually, I've just said it in plain English. So what you want to do is take that and turn it into a function on its own. So that now becomes if has path to follow. And you can pass it something, maybe if you want to, but it should then just return a Boolean. So then you've pulled that out, and now it's already easier to read your code. Then the knock-on from that, what's inside of that if statement, or that branch, I guess, is, well, if you have a path to follow, let's follow the path. But of course, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, take node 1 of the path, and then let's get the distance to it and do some math and shit. And then eventually, this somehow results in the NPC moving down this path. And again, the fact that I've been able to explain this to you, but it doesn't say that in my code. Why doesn't it say that in my code? So I should really just get to a point where my code of move path says in English more or less with the statements, right? If we have the path, move down the path. If we don't have a path, return or something like that. And then within the move down the path thing, it should say, instead of doing a bunch of mathematics, saying how far is it to the next thing, we create a function called get distance to next thing. And it's okay even if that function only has 2 things in it, or 1 thing, because you're making it plain English and you're making it reusable. And the whole point is that computers have all this memory and processing power. They don't care if you make 1,000 functions, but you do, because you have to come in there and maintain your code months after starting it. So if you come back to this this movement method and you need to change everything, there's 2 massive things that you have on your side now, because you come back to your code, and for starters, you should be able to read this function in English, right? Oh, what's it doing? Well, it's checking to see if it has a path, and then I'm saying move towards it, or I'm saying check the distance, but in English, right? Or whatever language you happen to speak. And then when I then refactor it, so not only now am I able to understand it quickly, but then when I go back in to refactor the code, because my method of doing it is kind of shit currently, I just simply pull out those bits of English because I know what they're doing, and they're so separated because it's separation of concerns, right? So maybe I still want to keep the bit that says if we have a path, because that's still the same. And I know I can just leave that in there because that's what it says. It's not checking the length of an array or something. That's what the function does, right? And then I can just plop in new building blocks, and you'll quickly find that actually those little things you thought, when am I ever going to use this again? Like if as path, they become useful really quickly. So yeah, it's basically what I've been doing. Unfortunately, it doesn't look very glamorous. I think I'm going to attach, throughout this video, hopefully I've shown you some of the examples of this. But yeah, so slightly different format today. Going for a little bit more of a show up rather than show off kind of format today. Hope you enjoyed. I've been working on another web app I've been designing, so that's actually, I'm about to release that, so I'm going to make a whole nother video series on that, because I created this beta for this tool I'm working on and put it on Reddit, and got 100 messages asking to be added to the closed beta of that project, so that's pretty exciting. But yeah, I'll see you shortly, hopefully.